Good morning. Put your hands up high, open, shut them, open, shut them. Give a little clap. Open, shut them, open, shut them. Fold them in your lap. 90 years ago, 1932, Verna Hills wrote a song. This song might be one you've heard of before. It might be one that if I tell you what it is, you're going to sing it all day. Have you heard the song, The Wheels on the Bus? The wheels on the bus go round and round. There are a lot of other verses. It's a fun song to sing, and you can change it in so many ways to make it fit whatever you're singing about. She composed this song about the normal routine of riding on a bus. Have you ever ridden on a bus? Buses are big vehicles that take a lot of people to one place, or maybe they go to several places and stop, and people get on and off and on and off. Like school kids. School kids often ride buses to school. Now, maybe you don't. Maybe you go in a car, maybe you walk, maybe you ride your bike. But many kids across our nation, 26 million in fact, ride school buses to school. They get on in the front and they go sit in their seats, and then they get off when they get to school. School buses weren't always the way to get to school. It used to be kids walked, rode a horse, rode in a carriage that had a horse pulling it. And then in the late 1800s, people started saying, well, maybe we should get all of our kids to go together in one thing. People made a wagon that held lots of kids, still pulled by a horse, and they called it a kid hack. It's short for hackney, which is a kind of wagon. And kids would get on, and they had just benches across that they would ride in all the way to school. It was very bumpy and not much fun. It wasn't a pleasant ride, but it did get them to school. Now, in 1932, the same year that Verna Hills released her song, there was a big meeting. You see, there had been people watching the school buses. Most of the school buses had been made by a company named Wayne Works, and Wayne Works made most all the school buses. But then when motorized or car-like vehicles came in, all kinds of companies made school buses, and they were very different. Now, Frank Sire saw this, and he saw that every bus was different. He said, I don't think that's the best way to go. Let's have a meeting. So they had a meeting in 1932 in New York City, and they met to discuss things like how long a school bus can be, how wide, what the seats should be like, what the windows should be like, what the paint should be like. And they talked about all of those. They decided to put safety glass in the windows so that if it broke, it would be broken into pieces that would not hurt you. They decided that all the lettering should be black and that there should be flashing lights. And they decided that yellow should be the color. Now they looked at different colors of yellow. They put up paint swatches on the walls, and they looked at all the colors. They had been told by a professional that supposedly knew that yellow was the best color to alert everyone that this was a school bus. So they looked at lemon yellow, they looked at dark yellow, they looked at sunshiny yellow, and they looked at orange yellow. The one that won was an orange yellow. It is now called National School Bus Chrome, the chrome being from the chromate that goes into the lead paint that they used to use to paint the buses. So now all school buses are like this, although there's been legislation to make them a lime green because that's supposed to be very visible. We'll see. They also decided on other things, how big it could be. And through the years, things have changed. Now school buses have mirrors, so the driver can see to the sides of the bus and to the back of the bus. There's also a door in the back where you can exit if you need to. And recently they added an arm that comes out when the bus stops, and it's a stop sign. It says stop, and people have to stop. And if you see the stop sign or the flashing lights, you have to stop your car and wait for the children to cross. It's a way to be safe. Maybe you're going to ride a school bus. Maybe you won't. I don't know. But it's fun to watch them go to school. I don't think it would have been much fun to ride the old type of school buses. I think that would have been a very bouncy, bumpy ride, probably very noisy. but it might be fun to ride a school bus to someplace fun. Maybe some kids go to field trips on their school buses. I don't know how we're going to ride to heaven with Jesus when he comes back. I don't think it's going to be a school bus. I think it'll be much, much more because so many people want to go with Jesus. You know what we have to do to go to Jesus? We don't have to get on a school bus or a train or a plane. We just say, Jesus, I love you, and he'll take care of the rest. That's going to be such a fun trip. A little bit more fun than going to school in an old type of school bus or a bumpy ride on the carriage. Going with Jesus to heaven, that'll be a good trip. Bye. I'll see you next week.
A 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Building up the kingdom, building up the kingdom, building up the kingdom of the Lord. Brother, can you help me? Sister, can you help me? Building up the kingdom of the Lord. It's so high you can't get over it. So low you can't get under it. So wide you can't get around it. You gotta go through that door. Faster. Building up the kingdom, building up the kingdom, building up the kingdom of the Lord. Brother, can you help me? Sister, can you help me? Building up the kingdom of the Lord. It's so high you can't get over it. So low you can't get under it. So wide you can't get around it. You gotta go through that door. Faster. Building up the kingdom, building up the kingdom, building up the kingdom of the Lord. Brother, can you help me? Sister, can you help me? Building up the kingdom of the Lord. It's so high you can't get over it. So low you can't get under it. So wide you can't get around it. You gotta go through that door. Faster. Building up the kingdom, building up the kingdom, building up the kingdom of the Lord. Brother, can you help me? Sister, can you help me? Building up the kingdom of the Lord. It's so high you can't get over it. So low you can't get under it. So wide you can't get around it. You gotta go through that door. Faster. Building up the kingdom, building up the kingdom, building up the kingdom of the Lord. Brother, can you help me? Sister, can you help me? Building up the kingdom of the Lord. It's so high you can't get over it. So low you can't get under it. So wide you can't get around it. You gotta go through that door. Go faster. Building up the kingdom, building up the kingdom, building up the kingdom of the Lord. Brother, can you help me? Sister, can you help me? Building up the kingdom of the Lord. So high you can't get over it. So low you can't get under it. So wide you can't get around it. You gotta go through that door. Faster. Building up the kingdom, building up the kingdom, building up the kingdom of the Lord. Brother, can you help me? Sister, can you help me? Building up the kingdom of the Lord. So high you can't get over it. So low you can't get under it. So wide you can't get around it. You gotta go through that door. Whew. Faster. All right, one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Building up the kingdom, building up the kingdom, building up the kingdom of the Lord. Brother, can you help me? Sister, can you help me? Building up the kingdom of the Lord. So high, can't get over it. So low, you can't get over it. So wide, can't get around it. Gotta go through that door.
Hello, boys and girls. This is Aunt Fernita, and I have a wonderful story for you called Repairing the Temple. Today's memory verse is from Philippians chapter 1, verse 27. It says, "Work together as a team for the faith." The message for today's story is, in God's family, we work together. Have you ever helped with a family project such as washing windows or weeding a flower garden? Joash led his country on a big church project, and everyone worked together. King Joash saw something he really wanted to do. During all the years when wicked kings and queens ruled Israel, God's temple had not been cared for. Some of the kings and queens had even taken away part of the temple walls and used the stones to build temples to the idols they worshipped. Sons of the wicked queen Athaliah had even taken the golden and silver dishes from the temple and used them to worship their idols. Now that Joash was king, he wanted to fix the temple. He wanted to rebuild the walls with fine wood and stone. He wanted new dishes for the service of the Lord, but it would cost a lot. Where would he get the money? Then King Joash had an idea. He would save for it. But he wouldn't be the only one. He would ask everyone in the country to help too. Joash placed something like a big wooden box with a hole on top near the doorway to the temple. When the people came to worship, they dropped their offering in the chest. Some people had a lot of money to give, and some people only had just a little. But everyone gave cheerfully. All their offerings added up, and before long the chest was full. The priest took the money out of the chest and sent it to the king's treasury where it would be safe. Again and again the priest emptied the chest and put it back to be refilled. And the people kept bringing their offerings to fill the chest with the hole on top. More and more money went into King Joash's treasury. All of the offerings the people brought added up to a lot of money. Soon King Joash had enough money to begin fixing the temple. The priest hired the best carpenters and stonemasons in all the land. They bought the finest wood and stone too. Men who worked with iron and bronze were hired. Together they rebuilt the temple so it looked like it had before. And when they were finished, they even had money left over. With the leftover money, King Joash ordered new golden dishes and had other furnishings to be used in the temple service. King Joash was pleased, and so were the people. They were happy that they had worked together to honor God. They had made God's house a special, beautiful place. We can work together to honor God too. We can help keep God's house clean and beautiful. We can work together to honor God at home, at church, and at school.
This podcast was brought to you by Gracelink.net and Studio El Piso. For more children's resources, please visit Gracelink.net.